Hey guys, I'm Shanoy, CEO for Infinity Integrated. Welcome again to my channel. So, just over a week ago, we hosted That RemoteLife, a week-long series which pulled together global remote strategists to speak about diverse topics to help people who are just on the journey to navigating that remote life. Now, why did we decide to do this? For me personally, I've worked remotely in excess of 5 years, often with international organizations and across borders and cultures. What stands out to me is that when I just started, several of my friends would be like, "Oh, Shanoy, I could never work in the way that you do. How do you manage to work from home? How do you manage to be in a different country on vacation and still be working," and that sort of stuff. Now with COVID-19 happening, several of those same friends had reached out to say, "Oh, Shanoy, you've been doing this for a while. What are some of the tips you have? How can you navigate this? How can we do this? How can we deal with different issues that we're having?" And so I didn't want to just host a series that would just have my voice or feature my voice. So That RemoteLife pulled together people who were talking about homeschooling, online tutoring, the digital nomad life, e-commerce, working from home as a family, and even flexibility and the cultural components that organizations and individuals need to be aware of while working remotely. So this video in particular will deal with the 5 key tips or the 5 key lessons that I learned from hosting this week-long series of That RemoteLife. As always, if you're not already following us, please remember to hit the subscribe button and also turn the notifications on so that you can see when next we go live. So, as mentioned before, this video is to speak about the top 5 tips that I have learned from hosting the That RemoteLife series. First, step 1 is that change is constant, but it is also challenging. For every one of us, we could have never seen this global pandemic coming. We could have never seen the ways that it would have been disrupting our lives. But like many other circumstances, change happens sometimes when we least expect it. It can also be super challenging for us to navigate. And so this is one of the reasons why we pull together different persons to talk about the different things that you can do in that remote life. So even for people who have been doing this for a while, it has been challenging. We have spoken to a digital nomad, for example, and digital nomadism has thrived because people love to travel and work. With the travel industry frozen at the moment, of course the change has affected those persons as well. So one of the key takeaways is that the change is constant, but that does not mean that it is not challenging. So it is about how to embrace those challenges, how to reflect on them, and how to evolve with them. And so I would encourage you to watch our interview with a digital nomad, and we will put the video somewhere there, and you will get some key insights in terms of how to navigate this change and the challenge that comes with it. Point 2 that I've learned from hosting the That RemoteLife series is that with this change comes a new way of doing and being. And one of the key topics we touched on in this respect was homeschooling. Now more than ever, people are forced to be homeschooling their kids. Before it was a choice, it was a discussion, there were people weighing the pros and cons, and here you are in a situation where you're being forced to homeschool your child. And if there was anything I learned from that particular interview, it was about how to engage your children in such a way that they become allies in the homeschooling process. So that interview went into details about how to ensure that your children are actually leading the process, how to ensure that they are also introducing you to new ways of doing and being. And the key takeaway I want to leave you with is that 1, you're not alone with this, but 2, you can in fact put on your creative caps and be able to further navigate the homeschooling, the online tutoring, the educating journey as a part of the remote life. Step 3, balance can be elusive, but some aspects of it can actually be attained. So with the interview with our work from home mom, a key thing that stood out was that everyone talks about this work from home life and not talk about this balance or work-life balance. But often there are many people who are chasing it, but will never ever get to a point where they can say, I've achieved balance. So one of the key takeaways is to acknowledge how it is that within your own space, within your own household, within your own circumstances, that you can or cannot achieve this balance. As our interviewee mentioned, that sometimes for her, balance was literally just going for a walk with the entire family or falling asleep late at night watching a movie with her spouse. So one of the key things again is that this balance, it can be elusive. So the main thing is to recognize that there's no perfect route, there's no perfect model. Do what works for your family. And again, you can check out that interview with our work from home mom for some key tips on how to work from home with the family. Point 4, others are earning money online and you can too. I really love that interview in particular with our global remote strategist, because he spoke a lot about different ways that people can start to earn money online now. So people are doing it, why not you? And so there were several things, of course, the main thing that stood out is that people are afraid. They don't know where to start. Oh, I'm not tech savvy. I don't have the tools. I don't have the resources. But at the same time, the key thing that emerged was that you have a cell phone, you have your internet connection, you are scrolling online every day, you're checking out Instagram videos, you're checking out TikTok videos, you're online looking for several different sort of things. And with those 2 key tools, you are already equipped to start earning online. Several simple things you can do in terms of reviews. You can also be looking at the gaming industry, and I won't go into too many details because that particular interview with our global entrepreneur went into several of the different ways that you can actually start to work remotely and to earn money online now. First thing you would need to do though is to let go of the fears that come within that space. Point 5, from hosting a week-long series on That RemoteLife, is that communication and flexibility are key, if not crucial, at this particular point. Now, as a communication practitioner, this particular That RemoteLife session for me was rather compelling, because what has happened is that people have just been thrown into a space where their mode of communicating, their medium of communicating, and even their communication styles are being challenged by this new way of doing and being while working remotely. Several people, they do not have any guidelines. There are no manuals to say, are we communicating effectively? Without the benefit of being able to walk into someone's office to clarify something or to comment on something, how are we navigating all of that? So this particular interview that we had done focused on how even within organizations, they need to work towards a culture of remote communication. Are you communicating effectively? And if the tools that you're using, are they enabling you to be able to do so? So I really like that particular session, and key from that interview for me was that culture. Cultures need to form a major part of every organization's strategy for virtual work. And I'm not just talking about culture from a national perspective to say, you have an American culture, you have a Chinese culture, etc. Culture in terms of individuals as well, because we all have our individual cultures, we all have our individual perspectives, or individual personalities, or individual backgrounds and circumstances that affect how we're able to communicate with our co-workers while we're on that path of that remote life. So in summary, that particular takeaway focused on the necessity to treat your employees, to treat your entrepreneurs, to treat your executives as individual cultures, and to see how is it that your communication processes are aligned with these different cultures. Like, are you really communicating with your audiences in the very best way possible? So again, the top 5 things that I've learned from hosting a week-long session on That RemoteLife. Again, 1, change is constant, but it is also challenging. Doesn't mean we can't navigate it. We have to first let go of the fear. 2, we have been faced with new ways of doing and being, which requires the acceptance that you're not alone. And 2, that you can just use your creative caps to engage your children, especially as it relates to homeschooling. 3, balance can be fleeting, but some aspects of it can be achieved if you're very mindful of what this means for you or what your circumstances allow you to do. And 4, others are earning money online. The opportunities are also there for you in the varied e-commerce platforms. 5, communication and flexibility are super critical while working remotely. So there you have it. Top 5 tips from hosting a week-long session on That RemoteLife. Remember, you can watch each of these 5 sessions in detail on this channel. And as always, remember, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Are there other challenges that you're experiencing while working remotely? You can drop them in the comment, and we'll be sure to focus on some of them based on your responses. Thank you so much as always. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day. great one.